Oh God. Oh God. Do you feel like you are in the Olympics?
Wait, what's it called? A bobsled or something?
Yeah.
A luge? Yeah.
This is funny. It's going back to our 6-year-old.
It's funny. I get it. I get the theme.
But it's kind of dangerous. I know. We're risking our lives. Welcome, Richard.
Hi.
This is my first guest. I'm so excited.
So excited to be here.
Me too. I'm glad that we worked these chairs out.
Oh, no, I feel very comfortable chair, so take your time. But as long as you'd like.
Yeah.
As long as you help me up at the end.
These are as comfortable as first class seats.
It's as comfortable as economy class seats.
Economy class.
All the way in the back of the plane.
We are just missing the air flight attendants.
Exactly.
No?
Yes. Well, we're missing a lot, but anyhow. So yeah, it's good to be here with you today.
Good. I'm so excited. So today's episode. So every episode, I'm trying to get somebody who is successful or at least fulfilled to whatever they're doing as a grown-up or whatever they decided to become as a grown-up. And Richard is a lawyer. He has his own practice.
I'm a partner at a very large firm.
Okay. What do you do as an adult for a 6-year-old kid?
As if I'm telling a 6-year-old kid what I do. I go to court and I argue positions on behalf of clients.
What does it mean that? What does it?
Well, it means that in the world of in courtrooms, attorneys represent different people, different parties, and usually if they're in the courtroom, they're arguing about something. There's a dispute, and lawyers represent one of the clients, take one of the sides and represent the clients, and try to convince the judge or a jury that their client is in the right. And they can either win money or not go to jail. A lot of different things are possible.
The chair is getting very uncomfortable. What is more uncomfortable, the question or the chairs?
That's a very good question. I think right now it's a tie. But it's hard to imagine the question being less comfortable. I'm slipping all this and fall on the floor.
I mean, we could eventually see you.
Can I hold the chair on my lap?
Oh my God! It happened. It happened. Oh man. Okay, so you defend people in courts, and is there something that you did as a kid? What was something that you used to do as a kid that you were curious about that you think relates to what you do today?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things. I was told as a kid I was argumentative. I would argue with people about things. And then
I'm still laughing for them all. That was surprising.
Okay, sorry to state the obvious, but the other obvious thing is I would watch TV shows with the lawyers, and I would like the shows.
Okay.
And I don't know, I like trying to figure things out, always. And you have to figure things out in most professions, but as an attorney as well. Did
other kids reach out to you to be able to help them with arguments or debates?
No, nobody hired me when I was young, but they would just engage. We would argue, and I had a lot of brothers and sisters. I would argue with them or my parents and stuff. So no, I was not sought out to help them figure things out, figure out how to argue or anything. But just part of the ecosystem.
Were you good at jokes?
Okay, was I good at jokes? I think I was probably. It took a little while for that to develop a sense of humor. I think because my father, no sense of humor.
No,
very serious.
Very serious.
And so we used to kid about that he had no sense of humor. So that kind of came later, maybe when I was in my early teens. I began to appreciate humor and actually on occasion find myself funny sometimes. But there's a lot of things that I carry to my profession. I think I may have mentioned at one point that what I could do when I was young was figure something out or read something and figure out what it meant very quickly.
Wow.
And so that's important in my current life.
You know, one of those courses where people read.
Speed reading? No, I never did
Uh-huh.
that. No, I never
Okay.
did that. No.
I
But
thought it was something related to
no, it's
that.
just being able to understand. And so, you know, the other thing I did as a kid, which is odd, I suppose, and maybe helps today, is I used to at night like read volumes of the World Book Encyclopedia. I mean, I could tell you like the thickness of the various letter volumes, even
Really?
to this day. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I would do. It's kind of weird, I know, but
It's
and
not
and
that
then
weird.
and then the other thing I would say, if I was going back in time, is you know, I played a lot of sports when I was young, so
Okay.
and so I think I'm competitive still. A lot of competition. If you're involved in litigation, you want to win. Um, and then you know you want to be able to get along with people, which I think I did a pretty good job. People used to call me Smiley when I was young. Yeah,
Really?
so I know it's hard to believe. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
a lawyer, being an attorney will,
Mm-hmm.
um, it'll change. I mean, it'll make you more serious as a person, unfortunately, you
Yeah.
know, because you're always studying and arguing. But I don't know. There's a place for humor in it.
Well, how do you think humor helps you be the best at what you do?
Well, because I don't take myself completely seriously, I think that
Mm.
you know you have to recognize that there's the human condition involves more than just your case, and you know I think it's you can use humor to get along with clients. You could use humor to kind of break the ice with a witness or a judge. I mean, you don't want to joke around too much, but a little bit, just be
Mhm.
lighthearted about things. So I think the people I work with would probably say I'm not as serious as most of the people around me, and that's just how it is. That's how I am.
Do you think your humor changed over the ratio of success changed your humor? Was it always, you were always smiling before success came, but I wonder if your sense of humor got more acute as you were
Well, I mean,
growing.
I think it got better. I mean, you know, you learn more things about comedy, and I've made presentations, comedic presentations, so you learn that how to do that. But also, it helps to relieve some of the stress that otherwise would exist. If
Mm,
you can't find some humor in yourself, for that matter,
mm,
or other people that you're working with, then
mhm.
it just becomes overbearing and too becomes too serious and stressful. That's how I feel it.
So the more serious the case, the more humor.
Well, I don't know that, but there's I always find occasions. I find occasion to use humor every day in some format. Even if everyone else is serious, I'll find some way to break the ice a little bit, lighten things up.
If your 6-year-old self was sitting next to us,
Yes.
what would he say to you? Would he be proud? Would he be like surprised? Do you think he expected what you lived, what you achieved?
A very interesting question. I think um, at some levels he would recognize himself. It's some things about me he would recognize,
Nice.
and other things he would say, "Wow, you know, I never envisioned I'd be sitting here and looking out this beautiful window with being interviewed for a podcast
This
in
chair is
downtown
about to
Chicago."
break.
You know, it's like not. I lived in a small house out in the suburbs, so the idea of doing something like this probably wasn't something he thought I was possible. And again, my father, very serious
Mm.
iron worker,
Hmm.
different. He led a different life. So, so I think he'd be happy. I hope so.
I think there is a lot of inner child in you, and I think that's why we met, and we were we were in an art gallery, and he's friends with another artist. His his name, I can't remember his name.
Costa Sakara.
He's a very talented artist. He has 100 and I don't know hundreds of paintings in
Hundreds
his.
of paintings in that gallery. That yeah, and he's Romanian, which I have like half Romanian blood, so
Nice.
that's one of our connections.
So the way that we met was very spontaneous, and I don't know. I kind of connected with these three people. They were talking about. We were talking about Jesus, about art, about success, how to become viral on TikTok, and it was just interesting how they. I don't know. The conversation just was very natural and organic, and we started talking about inner child. And even though inner child is such a term that everybody uses nowadays, it felt interesting how you were kind of like going along with it, or the concept of connecting with a part of you that is so creative.
No, I get it. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the connection.
Exactly.
But when you mention it and I look back, I could see connection. And it's not just professionally, it's also personally and things I like to do. And so when you look back, there is a connection.
No, I can see it. There is one thing that I was thinking the other day. Do you think that some people reserve themselves from showing their inner child or being connected to that part of themselves because it brings vulnerability to the table? How do you think vulnerability helps you in a big case or with your employees, or is there something that you can think of that it was when you brought that in, it helped you with your maybe people opening up, or your clients opening up, or the judges, or is that such a thing, or should it be the most hermetic?
No, I mean, that's a very difficult question because I mean, it's not as if I was like this when I was a teenager. I mean, as a teenager, I was pretty shy and I didn't stand up, and I wasn't a part of debate teams. I didn't stand up in front of the class that often. But as time went on, then it became something more that I did. So it's kind of, in some sense, going back, I became less afraid of speaking, and I was never afraid to speak when I was a kid. So maybe there's some connection there. But I also believe that you become more genuine if you can demonstrate a sense of humor and demonstrate some of the things that were important to you when you were younger. Can't just be a completely serious human being your entire life. It's just not good, not fun.
What do you think about vulnerability in general? Is that a thing that you shy away from? Do you admire that from people?
Well, in my profession, people are very serious, believe me. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Again, I try to be a little bit different in that regard, and I try to lighten things up.
That approach, do you think, helps more clients to get comfortable, or?
I think it helps people get comfortable, and there are occasions where you can get a judge to appreciate the humor. He's not going to laugh out. He or she's not going to laugh out loud, but you can tell that they're amused about something. And so I had this case once where there was the witness was speaking in Japanese, and there was an interpreter. And we went back, had what they call a sidebar, where you meet with the judge privately. And he said, I wonder what the word for attorney is in Japanese. I said, well, I'll go out there and I'll ask a question which requires that translation. It had nothing to do with the case. So, I mean, I think he appreciated that.
Nice.
That's the kind of thing I don't mind doing.
Nice.
Stepping out, looking outside the box, so to speak.
Do you think taking a risk, is that unusual in the world of
lawyers and litigation? And law? Yeah, I mean, because there's a way to do things, and it's recognized as the usual way of doing things. And so if you can come up with something that's a little bit different, a little bit more creative, it stands out. It's something that the jury would appreciate, where the judges appreciate it, clients appreciate it. So yeah, if there's a way to make things more interesting by more creative, and I will try to I'll try to make that happen. Definitely.
There's some sort of formality that you need to be able to be creative, right? Like there's a framework.
There's a framework. I mean, you can't be completely off the charts, right? You can't walk in the court with a fluorescent green outfit on like that.
Why not?
You probably could, actually.
Have you watched the movie, the blonde one?
Legally Blonde?
Legally Blonde. Yeah.
No, I have seen it, and yeah, there's
Does that
and
exist?
then of course that my cousin Vinny, he comes to court one day in like a tuxedo because he couldn't find a suit. I remember that movie. It's a very
Mm.
famous
Mm-hmm.
movie when it comes to comedic courtroom scenes.
Okay.
I can't remember
But that never happens in real life.
not to that level, no. I mean, there's things that are funny that happen, but no, I'm still look. People are still fighting about money. For the client, it's important. Client, it's money or freedom or something. So when you're dealing with other people's money or lives, and there is a lot. You can't be completely frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a cousin. He's a doctor, and he says that when he has to deliver the news, some news, he sometimes takes humor, but I feel it's what you say. Like you can be humorous with vulnerability in terms of you're respecting the client, but you want to be mindful of their money and their lives. I'm sure that is a way to.
Right. I mean, you try to explain things in a way, but there's certain things that you explain over and over, and if you can find a way to tell those stories, share that information in a way that is different or unique, maybe funny, then it's good. So the one I do, every client complains that the cases take too long, right? Because cases take years,
They do. They do.
and the story I tell is that when Hamlet is giving his to be or not to be speech, one of the reasons not to be is the law's delay. So the point is that even in Shakespeare's time, or Hamlet's time, the law was considered to take a long time. So I try to find ways to,
That's awesome.
to explain things in a way that has some historic meaning. Or
is there something that you like fast? How quick do you want like the food, or since your job takes a long time, is there something in the real life that you feel like you want it now? Instant gratification.
Wine at the end of the day. That's one thing I look forward to very quickly.
What kind of wine?
Well, I'm predisposed to white wines, but all different types.
Okay.
I'm not.
Any preferences on white wines?
Well, I probably drink a lot of Chardonnay, but I drink a lot of Chablis and a lot of Sancerre as well. So.
Is there any
And
country?
once in a while, some Sauvignon Blanc. Sorry.
Any country that you prefer?
Most of them are California wines, but France, of course, and I've had some Spanish wine, some Italian wine, some from Portugal. I had one from Portugal recently, like 3 or 4 months ago. Yeah, I can't remember where I originally got it, but it was good.
Viño Verde. Viño Verde is a pretty good wine.
It was good.
Nice.
I tried to find it at Benny's. I could not find it after the fact.
When is your birthday?
What?
When is your birthday?
April.
April.
I'm a Taurus.
3rd.
27.
27. I didn't guess.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus.
What was your favorite cartoon in school when you were a little kid?
Well, I mean, Superman was a big deal. That's not necessarily a cartoon. I mean, I confess that Popeye was a thing when I was growing up. I guess. I don't know. I have to think about that.
Superman, I know. The other one, I don't. What is the second one that you mentioned?
Popeye.
Oh, Popeye! Oh my God!
Sailor
Yeah,
Man?
he was huge.
Yeah,
I remember.
for sure.
Is there something that you remember, a routine before going to bed that you remember doing? Putting a pajama or?
Well, no. I mean, what I remember about that is the 3 things are arguing with my brother because we shared a bedroom, and it would like go on for a long time. Secondly, then sort of reading the encyclopedias.
Nice.
And then hiding a bag of Doritos under the bed and eating them at night under the covers.
Why? Why? Because you weren't allowed to eat that.
I don't know. No, I don't remember if it was that or because I had so many other siblings. They would eat them.
Nice.
I don't remember exactly why, but
Protect.
that's definitely something. So even to this day, I do enjoy
I
some
love
Doritos.
that.
That's for sure.
I like Doritos too. You have a nickname as a kid? A nickname.
A nickname.
Nickname.
Sorry, Rick.
Rick. Rick.
Everyone called me Rick in my
Rick.
family, and everyone called me Rick until I started working, like a professional job.
Oh,
Then
wow.
I changed it over.
So it was a successful nickname.
It was success. Yeah,
It stuck
it
for
caught
a long
on.
time.
It caught on. Yeah, yeah. So.
Nice.
All right, so a few other things, because you mentioned you were going to be talking about my inner child and things that I carry through to my adult life. There's a few other things that I believe that I, even to this day, I enjoy based on things I did as a kid. Number one is like fishing. I mean, I used to love to go fishing, and I now see one of my forms of relaxation is to watch fishing videos. I just know how it feels. I know how it feels.
So you don't fish anymore?
No, I still go once a year, but
Sometimes.
not that often. But that's something that has stuck with me the whole way.
Okay, so this is the moment of the truth.
Okay.
We're gonna try a game. We're gonna try a game. This is the song moment.
We're gonna play a game here.
So there's a game. There is a Saturday Night Live sketch from Kristen Wiig that I love. It is that she belongs to this duet, and she's supposed to sing a song that she knows, but she doesn't know the song, and her partner doesn't know the song. So we could either, I will lead, or you can lead. What do you prefer?
I have to make up a song. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we can. I can give you a prompt.
It's like
I can give you 3 words, and you can play with those words, or you can, from those 3 words, you can explore a story, and I'll try to follow the song. It should be something. It could be something like the shoes are open and the windows are closed. Anything like that. It can be anything. Whatever your inner child wants to do. This is the moment when your 6-year-old self just comes out.
Could I use a melody that exists?
See, okay. Yes, totally. So I'll try to follow you, but I feel like we should present ourselves. Maybe we can come up with a name. We're a duet, and we play for corporate, so that we get paid to go and play our song. So we are pitching the new song of the campaign for this food chain that is called Pepsi.
Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Okay, I was walking down the street one day, and I walked past Constantino's, and I looked in the window, and they were selling. I can't even sing it. I looked in the window, and they were selling Pepsi, and I went inside, and I said, "This is a very good, this is a very good idea." And I drank. This is again.
You were rapping. I need you to sing. I need you to sing because I need to follow. I need time. But I like the story. I really like the story. I just need a little time to follow. So just slow down so I can sing with you.
Oh, I should slow down?
A little bit, so I can follow you and guess what you're singing. One day.
Okay.
Do you want to follow? Should I try?
No, that might even be worse. Believe it or not.
Okay.
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 I was walking down the street one day. Ding, 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 and I walked past a place called Constantino, which sold a bunch of food. And I walked in that day and said I would like to have some Pepsi. And then I saw this woman. She was dressed in green, and I said, "Let's do a podcast together." Okay. Anyone watching? My sincere apologies. I made my disclaimers up front, so
this is the best I could ask for. Yay! Any advice for any aspiring lawyers out there?
People ask me that, like law students ask me, I always say something stupid, like study hard, which is really stupid to say. It's like not very insightful whatsoever. I don't know. I would say don't do it unless you love it, because it'll beat you up otherwise. But if you do love it, then go for it, because it can be very rewarding, fun, challenging. If you're in my side of it, like arguing, you need to like to argue. You need to be competitive. You need to like want to win, and you need to find like create something out of nothing, potentially to win. So you have to have some level of creativity.
What if the kid always loses?
Losing is very hard. Losing is worse than winning is fun.
But
if you're in a case.
But you need to lose a lot of times to win.
I mean,
or no?
Sometimes you could lose along the way to a final win, but if you lose, part of the occupational hazard is getting up at 2 o'clock, thinking about it at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is not good. There's already enough 2 o'clock in the morning things in your head when you're like thinking about fighting the other side. So. But now my advice for you, for your next podcast, victim.
Please.
You should. My suggestion, and this is very informative, interesting, but you should like provide some questions in advance, because there's certain things like the question about what I used to say when I was 6. I could probably figure that out, but not on the spot. I have to go back and think about things. So if I knew a little bit more, then I could have been a little bit more insightful, and also I could have practiced the song.
No, but
if I knew that part was coming up.
How can we practice a song that we don't know? That was the funny part.
You can make it up. Like you could create one like the day before.
But it wouldn't be improvisation.
No, it wouldn't. I get that.
It would be prepared.
It wouldn't be the same.
And people smell when it's prepared. No, I think.
Because the people do not change. You know that, right? I mean, I'm basically the same person I was when I was 6. With some experiences along the way.
Do you think you don't change?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I certainly think I'm the same person I was at 18.
Oh.
And so logically it follows I'm the same person I was at 6. Somewhere deep inside, not my trappings, the surroundings. We had no money, but there's something that was very similar about.
But do you think the purity of your child
is
there?
Oh yeah. I mean, I lived in a house that was people. They were good people. I mean, and so yeah, I think that continues to exist. If nothing else.
So your inner child is pretty much untouched.
I believe that. I mean, again, I think that here's the proof that I have of that theory, right? If you haven't seen people, let's say a group of people you went to college with, or whatever, and you see them 40 years later, 30 years later, everyone is kind of the same. I mean, they're older, but they all the way of communicating, the way they talk to each other, the relationship they have, it doesn't change at all. And so. And I think if I look back at relationships I had with my brothers and sisters when I was 6, in some ways it probably still exists. I don't fight with my brother as much.
But okay.
But there's experiences that shape people, but there's something basic that is not going to change. That's my theory.
But I have another theory.
Yeah.
The fact that you met them when you were little and they were little, it doesn't matter how old you get. You will still, when you see them, you still see them from the eyes of your 6-year-old.
Okay.
So I'm a catalyst.
You put me in touch with my...
Interesting.
To some degree.
That's so interesting. Wow. Well, 6-year-old self, Rick.
Yes.
And 30-year-old self, Rich.
I still like Kit Kat bars.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Carried with me to this day.
Really? Do you have one?
Lots of things like that. Do you have one with me? No.
Oh.
Why, do you want one? Do you like them?
I do. I love Kit Kats.
Yeah,
they're good. They're good.
Good.
They're good candies.
Super good.
Okay, so I think this is it.
Okay, this is the end.
This
All
is
right.
the end. Thank
Sorry
you for
sorry about the
coming.
chair.
No, it's okay. That's a risk I was willing to take. And the win was huge. I won a lot. I won good footage if we use it. If we don't use it, it's going to be in my memory forever.